Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Chasing Meet Cutes podcast. I'm your host, Nicole.
And I'm your host, Trisha. We got a doozy today. I have an icebreaker that kind of goes with the whole crux of the To All the Boys series.
Mm-hmm.
So
Tell me.
I'm just gonna throw it out there so we can chat about it while our sweet treat is in the oven.
Yeah.
We have a little baked oatmeal going. So
excited.
yeah, it better be good. It smells good. Okay, icebreaker question.
Go.
If one of your secret love letters accidentally got mailed, who would it be to, and would you want them to read it?
What?
Obviously, like, we're not talking real life because I literally don't even know who I would
That's
say.
what I'm saying.
I think,
like,
let's just say, like, a love letter to an actor that you like. Like, let's say you wrote a secret love letter to... Okay, and let's also pretend that, like, all of these actors are not potentially married, okay?
Okay.
But let's say you wrote a secret love letter to Christopher Palaha.
Yeah, okay.
With no intentions of him ever reading the content. And somehow got mailed to him and he read it.
Yeah.
What would you do?
I don't even know. Do we live in the same town? Like, because if I'm writing a letter to him from Florida I'm assuming he lives in California.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't live in the same general vicinity.
Like, okay, but let's say, like, it was
like,
juicy enough that he reaches out. He's like, yo, I got this letter.
Yeah.
Okay, let's just scratch that question. Because it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to, like, actually talk about. I have another one.
Okay.
I don't know. This is still kind of, like, cheesy because we weren't... I don't know. I'm just going to say it. Okay. What was your most unforgettable high school crush? And if they had read your diary back then, what would they have discovered? I didn't come up with this. I didn't come up with this.
You still chose to read it and pick that as a question.
I think it could be funny.
Do you?
I mean, it's incriminating for me, too.
I know.
I think we can be vague enough about it. It's been 15 years. 16.
I don't even remember the question. What's the question?
What was your most unforgettable high school crush? And if they had read your diary back then, what would they have discovered?
They would have discovered that we were clinically insane.
Just a little.
Yeah. Clinically insane. Can you even call it a crush? It wasn't like...
Yes.
Yes, but not in a... I don't know.
I think that's exactly what a crush is. Like, you can like somebody when the person has no idea you even exist, but you still have a crush on them.
I guess so.
That's all it was. It wasn't even, like, anything about that.
Right.
But I think we could, like, expand a little bit because people are probably like, what are you guys even talking about?
Yeah.
There was a cute guy at our school that we thought was cute. And Nicole, you knew him more from, like, even elementary school, middle school, whatever.
Oh, kindergarten.
Yeah. Kindergarten. Okay,
yeah.
I was new to the state, so I had no idea he even existed, really, until I saw him.
Yeah.
And he was, like, one of those guys that just, like, we kind of just, like, senior year, I feel like we were just like, wait a second, this guy's really cute.
Yeah, and we didn't have any of the same classes or, like,
no,
anything.
I rarely even saw him at school, I feel like.
Same.
But he played a sport where we had some mutual friends. And, again, like, he knew you. You guys have known each other since kindergarten. Yeah. In fact, like... I mean, you can tell the people or not, but she has some history.
That we were, like, boyfriend and girlfriend in 6th grade.
Yeah. Okay, so they had history.
You can hardly call it that, but we'll go with it.
In some cases, people
Some
really
people
get
hang on to
serious
that.
about that.
I know.
Okay?
I know.
But we kind of went into like obsession mode. Like that was all we wanted to talk about. Well, not all we want to talk about, but like in regards to this guy, we like wanted to just create a meet cute, right?
I am so thoroughly.
I mean,
Shelly is gonna love
oh,
this.
she is.
She's gonna be lapping this up.
Basically, guys, we figured out where he worked, and like it just became a part of our weekend routine to just like stop in to this place and like
get some sweet tarts,
get some candy, say hey, act like it was coincidental every Saturday, Sunday. But that's not really where the clinically insane part comes in.
Where does it come in? Because I think that's pretty.
Okay.
What's more?
Okay. We also knew where he lived.
Oh, yeah.
And like like his car. Ooh, our sweet treat's ready. We knew what kind of car he drove. So we would just like drive through the neighborhood, do a loop, and just see if by chance he was like outside. In our defense, we were 17. That's pretty old still to be doing stuff like that. But anyway, he was really cute, you guys. I even remember we went to a car wash. We took your dad's car through like the team he played for, his school car wash function.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is a really cool car. And we were like, yeah, it is. It's ours.
Yeah.
Well, you said it's yours, but anyways, I think that was kind of an unforgettable crush. I mean, like my sister still talks about it, still gives us crap over that. It's one of the most cringy. It's one of the most cringy things that we have done in our lifetime.
Yeah,
probably
for sure,
as far as crushes go. But yeah, we better go get that sweet treat. So, pause. Yes, pause. Oh my gosh, why is it so freaking hard to get up? I'm still mic'd over here.
You are?
Yeah. I hear you. Jeez, oh Pete. I hope this is good.
I know.
I don't know if she has to rest or what. Probably, because we're not ready to eat her anyway. Should I drizzle some peanut butter on the top?
Yeah. I feel like it has to be eaten hot though, right?
Probably. Because she does look liquidy. This is just I'm just rolling around a ball of peanut butter.
Yeah, when you said drizzle, I'm like, that's definitely not a drizzle. Guys, you should have seen her make an affogato.
That is unfair.
How?
You know what? You're right. I don't have a defense in that. I really made myself an espresso float is what happened.
Yeah.
But, okay. Back to business.
It should also be said
okay,
that regarding that person,
that
they definitely peaked in high school.
100%.
So, I'll say that.
So we're fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Also, he was genuinely just like a very nice person. And he never, I think he was completely oblivious. Like we weren't like, well, I don't know. Maybe he still tells the story to this day. Like, oh my gosh, these two girls. I don't even think he knew I existed.
I don't think he really like put two and two together.
I mean, there was another guy I had a crush on that was kind of the same thing. Like, he played on the same team, and he was like a night and day.
I also knew this person from second grade.
Yeah, he was also just like one day I was like, oh wow, he got cute overnight.
Yeah, definitely.
Like for real.
Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure he didn't peak in high school. I think he's probably still really good looking.
Yeah.
But anyway, Okay. Any other high school crushes that you want to bring up for me to throw me under the bus since I threw us both under the bus?
No, I would not like to do that.
Okay. I don't even think I really have another one, to be honest. But all right, I'm gonna read a little some. I forgot I was on the same thing, guys. This episode is all over the.
I'm
That's why
dead.
I feel like
I'm dead.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't, in fact, have 5 marbles in my mouth. I can assure you.
Believe it or not.
Believe it or not.
She doesn't.
Okay, here's a summary of To All the Boys I've Loved Before. In To All the Boys I've Loved Before, Lara Jean Covey's quiet high school life is turned upside down when secret love letters she wrote to all her past crushes are accidentally sent out. To save face, she agrees to a fake relationship with popular heartthrob Peter Kavinsky, only to find real feelings developing between them. The story beautifully explores first love, identity, and the messy magic of teenage emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have Lara Jean, which I feel like should just be Lara Jean. I don't know.
I agree.
Lara just sounds like Lara. I don't know.
Well, and it sounds like sometimes they're saying Laura. Just like
Laura
Laura
Jean.
Jean instead of Lara Jean.
Lara. It's just like one of those girls that's like name is spelled like Alicia, but they're like it's Alicia.
Alicia.
Or Tara versus Tara. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those.
Yeah, where does that distinction come from?
Don't know.
But you know.
If it's a Tara, they're going to let you know.
100%.
Yeah. Anyway, so Lara Jean is, I don't know, just like your average high school student. She's not really like a nerd per se. She just kind of keeps to herself. She has her friend group. Mm-hmm. She's known Peter Kavinsky since middle school at least.
Yeah.
But she's just not popular. I think
yeah.
I don't think she's just like unpopular. She's just.
Yeah, she's not like part of the popular like mean girl group.
Right.
Like the typical.
Right. In fact, her best friend is cousins with the girl who's like the head mean girl. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of have a little banter back and forth.
Yeah.
Because the head mean girl used to be one of their besties and they had a falling out and whatever. So they kind of just stick to themselves, and it kind of unfolds that she had, like right in the beginning of the first movie, that she has had this crush on her sister's boyfriend, had a crush on him before they started dating, and kind of always daydreamed about him in a way. And she wrote this letter to him basically confessing her love for him.
Yeah.
And she had no intentions of ever sending these letters. And she wrote one like that to 3 or 4 other guys.
Yeah, 4. 5 total.
5 total. Mm-hmm. And we see her younger sister, Kitty, send these letters out for whatever reason. Just to be messy.
Impulse, I don't know.
Who knows? She's just got a wild hair and sent them all out. And so all these guys start receiving the letters and are one at a time kind of questioning.
Yeah, they're like, what the heck?
Right. And Josh, the sister's boyfriend, keeps trying to talk to Lara Jean about it. And she's just like, wants to avoid.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want to make it messy because of her sister. And they had just broken up. So she was just like, no, can't happen.
Yeah.
I don't want him to think I actually love him.
Currently.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when Peter approaches her about the letter, she totally has a freak out moment and basically tackles him to the ground after he's like, yo, thanks, but like it's never gonna happen. And she sees Josh coming down towards them, and she just like jumps on top of Peter and kisses him, basically to distract Josh.
Yeah.
And show him like, oh wait, I guess she's
with
not in love with
somebody.
me, or
Yeah.
with somebody else.
Right.
So that's the beginning of this whole like fake romance trope, because Peter also needs Lara Jean's help to
Right.
try to make his ex-girlfriend jealous, the head mean
The mean
girl,
girl,
Jen.
Genevieve.
Genevieve. So I don't know. Where do you think we should start with Peter, and any moments that you want to jump into?
I mean, I think obviously at the beginning the relationship is fake, as we see in so many other things, but like I feel like their fake relationship was like so cute and so realistic. Like they
So cute.
definitely had the chemistry. Like it was there. Which turned into real feelings fairly
Yeah,
quickly.
pretty quick.
Cuz I don't know, they're just like texting nonstop.
Like when they came up with the contract, and they were writing out all the rules of like what they could and couldn't do, or expectations.
Yeah.
Like even that process was cute and almost flirty. Like, you've never
Totally.
seen this movie? Okay, well, before we, break up, we have to watch that.
Yeah.
And it just kind of naturally, it was never like they were annoyed to be around one another. It
Yeah.
wasn't like enemies to lovers. It was just
No.
like acquaintances having a fake relationship. Like,
yeah. And it just worked. I mean,
yeah.
and I mean it worked in multiple ways, but the ex Jen is super jealous.
Yeah.
Super jealous. Anytime she sees them together, she's like very visibly annoyed. And that they're just like always together, and she's kind of confused by it in that way that like high school girls can be like, oh, we're broken up, but like you're not going to give me attention still, like
Right.
kind of thing.
Or just be mean, like, you're with her.
Yeah.
Like, as if she's some, like, scum of the earth.
Right. And then like the whole ski trip thing comes up, like, because obviously, I don't know, it's like a class ski trip or something.
Yeah. It's like an every year thing, I guess.
Yeah, and Jen was like annoyed that Lara Jean was gonna be there, and it's like, okay, well, she's part of y'all's class, so like she can go.
The thing I loved about their fake relationship was that it actually was beneficial in some sense, because Peter was able to kind of pull Lara Jean out of her shell, or even like the night, like the first party they went to together, when they're standing there at the door, and she like goes to put her hair back, and he's like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah.
take your hair out.
Yeah,
like,
give me that scrunchie.
Yeah. And then like he's just so quick to like love on her, and like take selfie and make her like the whole background, or the phone
make it your phone
screen
background.
background, whatever. Like, he
'cause
wasn't ashamed to be
and
with
he
her.
is popular.
100%.
He's the athlete, and
Right. But he's not a jerk.
No.
Which is like, that always surprises me. I'm like, why would you want to be with this Jen, who's literally so mean and like outspokenly rude? I don't know if outspokenly is a word, but I just made it one.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's genuinely a nice guy who happens to be popular athlete guy.
Yeah.
Trying to think of other moments that in the first movie, like before the ski trip, that we see. Like they bond over not having a parent in their life, where like for her mom passed, and for him, his dad just chose to walk away from the family.
Yeah.
And at one of the times where like she came over to his house to have dinner, and they're talking like after dinner, doing dishes or whatever, and they're able to just have a real conversation. And I think that's a moment where they're kind of realizing, oh, we have maybe real feelings for one another.
Yeah. Yeah, especially
and I never
because,
talk
like,
about this with anybody. Like, they're
Yeah.
able to be vulnerable with each other because there's no pressure, because they
Right.
know it's fake. Like, that's
Right.
something for Lara Jean in the very beginning. She's reading this novel about romance, and it's so easy for her to want it and picture it when it's a fantasy, but for her to like come to terms with the reality of being with somebody, it like scares her, so she just self-sabotages or avoids it altogether.
Right.
So for her, it's like, there's no risk, so I can be myself and be open with him,
Yeah.
because it's fake
Right.
until it's not.
Right. Yeah, I think like at getting to the ski trip, is when she I feel like is starting to realize those real feelings maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and she's starting to like second guess like the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
um like hardcore. But I don't know. I was gonna jump to like the hot tub.
Mm. Before we do that, can we talk about just Peter and Kitty's dynamic and how we were like, that is so cute that he
Mm-hmm.
just gets along well with her
Yeah.
little sister. Like, even before the ski trip or on the way to the ski trip, he had saved her a seat and he was a little bit annoyed that she didn't sit with him
Mm-hmm.
because he had reached out to Kitty and was like, "Where do you get those like yogurt
The
drinks that you
yogurt
have?" And
drinks,
like
yeah.
he actually like planned and prepared a little bit to like have a good time with her on the ride there.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just kind of like trying to tell herself like there's no way he actually likes me, like, so I'm just gonna like see myself out before I get
Right.
heartbroken.
Right.
But then we see the hot tub scene when they're
Yeah.
on the ski trip.
Right. Um so Peter's in the hot tub. I forget how it leads up to it, but Lara Jean goes out to the hot tub. Did he text her or something?
Maybe, I don't.
I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, she goes out to the hot tub, and basically gets in like in her pajamas.
Yeah.
But they're kind of just chit chatting, and I was gonna bring up the yogurt drink thing because he mentions like, okay, if I didn't really like you, would I have driven? Because she says the Korean grocery store is like all the way across town where those yogurt drinks are, and he's like, yeah, exactly. Like, do you
Right.
think if I didn't really like you, I would have driven all the way across town to get them for you?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was pretty sweet.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously we see they like kiss in the hot tub and it's like a little steamy moment for them.
Literally.
And that was like one of the rules that they had set was no kissing.
Yeah.
And she compromised and said, "Okay, you can like put your hand in my back pocket," kind of a thing. And he was like joking about that, like, "Oh, what is this
Yeah.
like? I don't know."
Yeah.
And so basically, what's the phrase? All the cards are off the table. Or wait, what do you say?
I have no idea what you're even talking about.
No, the phrase of like, okay, like it's out. The contract is out the window at this point because they broke the rule. They confessed real feelings, so like they don't have to just break up at the ski trip. So I was just trying to think of what the phrase would be to be like, oh, it's.
I don't know what phrase you're thinking of. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Anyways, the contract was kind of like
Null and void.
yes. And it was a very sweet, cute moment that they had. Like afterwards, they walked upstairs and she went to her room and he went to his room and they shared another little kiss before then. And she's just feeling like, wow, I can't believe that actually happened. And
Yeah.
like he actually likes me. And like
Yeah.
she's just,
Excited.
yeah, she's excited. And it's like, wow, somebody actually wants to be with me.
Right.
And it's for real. And it's scary but exciting and all the things.
Yeah.
Until
Unfortunately,
gets screwed up.
Unfortunately, the bus ride home, they get off the bus and Jen, the ex, the mean girl, she like sabotages the whole thing as soon as they get off the bus. And she like is trying to be nice, but she knows what she's doing. And she like takes the scrunchie out of her hair, which was Lara Jean's that Peter took off from the party.
First party. Mm-hmm.
And she said, "This is my favorite scrunchie. Like, don't lose it." So at the party, Jen ends up with it because she's horrible.
Yeah.
And keeps it. But anyway, she pulls off the scrunchie and like obviously Lara Jean sees it and she's like, "Where did you get that?" And she's like, "Isn't it so cute? I just love the colors," knowing exactly where she got it from.
Little rat.
And that it was hers.
Such a little rat.
So obviously Lara Jean is very upset by that.
And she doesn't know the timeline of things of like when the scrunchie was handed over.
Yeah, she has no
makes
clue.
a comment too. I think was it at this point where it's like, yeah, he came to my room last night, and like So she just chooses to believe that and not go to Peter and be like, she said you went to the room. Can you explain that? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And then here, she just wants to say that and then be like, and we're done.
Yeah.
And it's just frustrating. I'm like, just let the man talk.
Yeah.
I think there was a good reason that he went to her room last night. But before we talk about what happens after that, what's your thought on their bus ride home when they're sitting next to each other and he's like, I'm so tired. Like, can I use you as a pillow? And
no,
he's like,
no, can I use you as a pillow?
That's what
bro?
I'm saying. Like, you get you're on the window seat.
Exactly.
Lean your head up against the window or let me go head first and then you can rest on my head.
Yeah, no.
Huh?
No.
I mean, that's so typical.
Mm-hmm.
He probably would ask for back scratches too.
Don't even.
I'm just saying.
Don't even.
But I just thought that was funny because
yeah. I'm like, no, I get to use you as a pillow. You need to get like a hoodie or something from your bag so you can put it on the window and then
something.
Yeah.
Something.
Yep.
But so they have this conflict and this video starts circulating of the hot tub moment and they're making it more than it really was. Yeah. Nothing happened more than a kiss in the hot tub. And at one point she was like in the hallway, you know, everyone's like talking about this and they wrote something on her locker. It's always the ones that, I don't know.
I don't
some
remember.
Phrase that was insulting and it hurt her feelings. Yeah. She's like, you're just going to let people think that, like, we had sex in the hot tub? Mm-hmm. And she storms off, and then her friend's like, you better do something about this, whatever. And he just, like, yells in the hallway, like, a threat, basically. Like, nothing happened. Not that it's anyone's business, but nothing happened in the hot tub. Yeah. And if anyone makes, like, another comment about it, like, I'm going to beat you up.
Yeah, we're going to fight. Yeah. We're going to fight.
And so
I liked that.
I did too. It actually, in that moment, I was like, why couldn't freaking Austin Ames do this at the pep rally in a Cinderella story? Yeah. When everybody's laughing at Sam and mucking it up, yucking it up, whatever the phrase is.
And he's just sitting there like this. He's just
like, wow, this is awkward. Sorry, Sam.
Sucks to be you.
He didn't say a word. Anyway.
Like a little soy boy.
Ugh. He's just controlled by his dad.
Yeah. Anyway,
they ultimately make up because Kitty, the little sister, like, gives her this little basket of all the notes that Peter had written. Lara Jean over the course of their fake relationship, and she's like realizing that, like, he actually does have feelings for her. And so she approaches him on the lacrosse field, reads him this, like, letter, or ends up just telling her, you know, telling him how she feels. And
I thought that scene was so funny too. Like, first of all, I thought it's significant that she drove herself there because
definitely
she doesn't like to drive. She's not a good driver. It's like one of her things. But I thought it was funny when she, like, asked him to turn around. And, like, I think we see that in Nobody Wants This too.
She said she had to turn around and Nobody Wants This. And she made him turn around in this.
And then she, like, immediately just taps him on the shoulder so he can turn around. That, like, was super
2 seconds. Cute. She's like, wait, I gotta do this.
But yeah, she tells him, like, I don't like you just in the fake way. Like, I really genuinely do. And that's when he said, I love you.
He's like, I'm in love with you, Lara Jean. And then they kiss and the credits roll. And then we jump right into the second movie a couple years later. And another letter comes back to haunt her, essentially.
Woof.
Because
I almost forgot about that.
John Ambrose. John Ambrose, the guy she met at, like, camp in 6th grade. 6th grade.
So dumb.
Basically, he gets this letter and doesn't do anything about it, really. They just happen to be volunteering at the same place their senior year. Their junior year, I guess. And he's just like, I got the letter. He's thinking, All right. I like this girl.
Yeah, she's probably still in love with me.
Yeah. Because we had deep connections when we were 11 or 12.
Like, get real.
Look how it worked out for Nicole in 6th grade.
Yeah, yeah.
It didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know who I had a crush on in 6th grade, so.
I think, I was going to say, I think that was my only one, but it wasn't.
Actually, I do remember a crush I had on a boy in middle school. I thought he was just like really cool and really funny, kind of like class clown type of guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote in my yearbook, I'll never forget this. He wrote it like not on the yearbook signing page. He went and found like we had chorus together, and he like wrote on that page because I think his picture was on that page, and he's like, I love how you always dance or something like in chorus, or like I like you're so cool. I don't know, something dumb. I was like, oh my gosh,
wow.
It's like Mr. Marquette's class.
I'm in love.
I have no idea where he's at today and if he peaked or not. So, but my point is, 6th grade crushes come and go
so fast.
And
I mean,
I don't know. I guess for some people, maybe they're. I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit more lasting, but nevertheless, he thinks that there could be something there.
Yeah.
And she doesn't really she doesn't tell him about Peter.
She doesn't,
even though they're officially in a exclusive defined relationship.
Right, like they're going on dates.
They're going steady.
Yeah. Yeah, and she just lets this guy believe that
he even made comments about Peter. Like, oh, I bet Peter and Jen are still together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she didn't say
you guys hang out all the time.
I hated that. I'm like, why is she not
Especially because she went to the lengths to say her and Jen weren't friends anymore. Like she corrected him about that.
Yeah.
But she couldn't correct him about Peter. And I'm like,
so you
just want the attention?
Right. Or you're just genuinely keeping your options open?
How would you keep your options? If you had someone like Peter Kavinsky, are you kidding?
On. And little teeny John Ambrose, get out of here.
Teeny tiny boy.
Little string. They look eye to eye and she's small. I mean, she did have some little heels, not big heels on. The one.
Yeah, he's a short king for sure. Yeah. He's petite.
Yeah. Bye.
Very cute. He's very cute.
Sure.
Very cute.
Yeah.
But petite. Compared to Peter, I'm like,
yeah.
No, Peter, he's just more filled out for his height.
Tall build.
Athletic build. He's a cutie. And he's nice. He's so nice. And okay, we don't have to go on the Peter hype train, but we get it. He's great. Mm-hmm. Spit some moments between what's on your list
between her and
whatever
John,
whatever, either one.
Do I even have much written about him? I mean, we have the time capsule moment.
Okay, let's dive into the time capsule.
Yeah, because I don't really have anything else specifically about John Ambrose before that.
Okay.
I just have Valentine's Day, but that's not him. So anyway, the time capsule meeting. I don't even know who called the meeting because I think
it was just between him and Lara Jean.
They were talking about the time capsule and they were oh, we should open
flashbacks to the treehouse.
Yeah. They're like, oh, we should all get together and open it.
Right.
And he was like, oh, who all is going to go? And she tells him who's going to be there. Jen was not included in that message, but she shows up anyway somehow. But the tension is very weird. That whole scene
from the get-go,
especially because John Ambrose has no idea that her and Peter are together because she hasn't told him. So it's very awkward there. And I feel like Lara Jean is...
Especially knowing that, why wouldn't she want to clear the air before the treehouse?
I know.
And they're both going to be there, and you know how he's been acting around you. Why wouldn't you tell him?
Yeah, and she's kind of acting as if Peter can see something's up. Because 100%. She's kind of acting like Peter's not my boyfriend.
Well, also because she's been... Again, not only has she not told John Ambrose about Peter, but she's low-key reciprocating the flirty banter that he's been giving.
Yeah.
So it's not in his defense and John Ambrose's defense, like he has no reason but to think that
Right, because
she's
that's what
interested.
she's leading him to
Exactly.
believe, for
She was
sure.
definitely leading him on.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Obviously, they open the time capsule, and at some point, Peter, like, makes it known that they are together. And John Ambrose is, like, shook because he didn't know,
From the very
obviously.
beginning when he showed up with the pizza boxes and he was like going to carry something else. And
Yeah.
Peter was
Yeah.
like, why didn't you ask me to bring the pizza?
Yeah.
He was like territorial.
Like, I will do that.
I will carry whatever you need carried.
Yeah, nobody else is doing that.
And honestly,
yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it leads kind of to a fight, a little tiff between Lara Jean and I wrote LJ and PK.
Yep.
Peter Kavinsky.
Yeah, they do have a little tiff, but they smooth things over in that moment pretty quickly. He just kind of like apologizes. She kind of apologizes. They go in for the hug.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it gets like right back into it because she's like, do you want me to dress up for your game? And he's like, I mean, if you want, do you want to dress up or like do you not want to? She's like, well, or like he's like, is it?
Well, he says like, well, all the girlfriends do that,
right?
Like it's well known that all the girlfriends dress up,
right?
So he's like, yeah, but like only if you want to.
She's just making something out of nothing. Is basically what he's trying to say. Like, I don't care if you do or you don't. Like, all the girlfriends do, so it would be kind of cool if you did. But like, if that's not your thing, it's not your thing. Like, I'm not gonna make this into an issue,
right?
But she's like, kind of making it into one. And this whole like thing about Jen, even though they squashed whatever from the first movie, it's still there because Jen is going through something where she keeps needing to like talk to Peter, and LJ doesn't know what that is, and so she does assume that Jen is just like trying to be a weasel,
right?
And again, just historically speaking, from Jen's perspective, girl,
yeah.
Ever heard of The Boy Who Cried Wolf? Like, you can't be so manipulative, mean girl, and then flip the switch and do something like, I don't know, not bad. Like, you're just like,
but it's like you genuinely need somebody to talk to, and like,
but you can't expect then people to think that you're just being genuine and nice, like, and non-threatening.
Right.
No, you need to explain yourself.
Exactly. And I don't know when it is, but Lara Jean puts 2 and 2 together about the hot tub video, and figures out that it was Jen who took the video
because she was supposed to be the one
meeting him Peter at the hot tub. So that kind of
just caused a whole
it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
and Peter doesn't really tell her about like why he's needing to talk to Jen. Not right away, at least.
Not until the game day.
Yeah, and he almost like defends her for a minute, especially about the video thing, because he's like, well, we don't know if it was her that did it. And it's like, okay, we do.
Yeah, we do.
So.
And also, it's just like, that's where I feel like you see the immaturity, because I feel like you could assume that maybe he's just irritated at the whole John Ambrose situation, so he knows like he has this whole Jen situation as like his thing to hold over her, and he's just kind of like, I'm gonna keep you at arm's length with this matter because you're keeping me at arm's length about John Ambrose.
Yeah, and like Lara Jean ends up not confronting Jen about it, because she like calls her to the treehouse, like just her, and Jen tells Lara Jean, like, this is why I've needed to be close to him, because her parents are splitting up or whatever it is.
Right.
And she doesn't know how to handle it. And, like, she doesn't really have any good friends, I don't think.
Yeah.
So they kind of, like, repair their relationship a little bit in that moment.
Yeah, definitely. Like they used to be besties. They, obviously the thing that she had put in the time capsule was a little friendship bracelet,
They
and
both did.
right. And so I don't know. I mean, they kind of like at the end of the first movie, Jen, when they're like in the bathroom and Jen's like, "You knew I had a crush on him when you kissed him in seventh grade at Spin the Bottle." And like she acted like that was like the
Yeah,
reason for their beef.
I know. That was so lame.
I'm like, what? I mean, I guess when you're in high school, middle school doesn't seem that far off. And so it feels like
Yeah. And it's like it was a
heavy.
game.
Yeah. I mean, I had never played Spin the Bottle.
I don't think I
I was
did.
never really invited to like
That type of
party.
same.
But yeah, her and Jen smooth things over, which then kind of smooths things over with Peter in that respect. Because she's like, yeah, I don't have like you're good. Like I can tell he really likes you.
Yeah.
Um,
But we still have little John Ambrose back
we
here.
do like
We do, because they're planning this like ball thing for the what is it, like a memory care facility or something they're volunteering
just
at,
like some
like an
sort of
old,
assisted living.
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're planning this ball together, and they are supposed to be working the ball, but there's a whole thing, and they end up like attending the ball really, and dancing and whatnot.
Dressing up,
Yeah,
dancing.
and then they freaking kiss.
That yeah, because her and Peter are like low key broken up, and I think Lara Jean thinks like, well, maybe I'm actually meant to be with John Ambrose. So
yeah, except for when they kiss, she like immediately realizes like, nope, this ain't right. Thank God.
Which yeah, I mean, that's great, and he took it like a champ.
Yeah.
He I mean, what's
we
he
don't
gonna
see
do?
much from him.
He just is kind of like, okay,
yeah,
I thought maybe that would happen.
Yeah, worth a shot.
Yep, worth a shot.
Yeah, but she like, when she has that realization, she's like, I gotta go talk to Peter, like we gotta fix this.
Yep.
So she's like running
Hustling.
to leave, and Peter he's there outside the door
And
of the facility.
the thing he says when he runs up to her, when he's like, I know you don't like to drive in the snow, and because it had started snowing, and he's like, just shows up because he knows like she's gonna want to ride home or prefer not to drive. And I'm like,
Precious.
even when they're broken up, he's putting her first. Gosh, he's just so sweet.
He really is.
Like he actually loves her. Like he cares for her.
And he tells her that.
100%.
They both say it, I think.
Yeah, which is
cute.
So cute. And they just, stay together, and that's how the second movie ends. And the third movie picks basically right back off. We see them like having this summer vacation in South Korea, and
definitely not
North Korea. And the dad in the second movie kind of like started flirting / dating the across the street neighbor,
so
Trina.
Trina.
And she's so cute. Like she's goals for what any kid would want as a stepmom. Like she's not invasive, she's not overbearing, she's just like here for a good time.
Yeah.
And whatever. So they all get along. They're planning on getting married. And the third movie is kind of that story of like them planning a wedding and Lara Jean applying for colleges. She has plans to go to Stanford because Peter's going to Stanford. And within the first few minutes of the movie, we see her get a little notification that basically she did not get into Stanford.
She didn't get in.
No. Do you want to explain the whole like
text message
mistake? Yeah, that whole scene.
Yeah. So, like she said, Lara Jean doesn't get into Stanford, which is like devastating to her because like that was the plan. So she calls her older sister on FaceTime, her and Kitty do, to tell her like, hey, I didn't get in. And the older sister is like, okay, well, you need to be keeping your options open. Like, I know you want to go there because Peter's going there, but like, you need to keep your options open. She specifically talks about NYU because she is in New York, right?
I
Something like that.
guess.
But anyway,
She
not
must
the
go
point.
there and then she's on some sort of like study abroad in
Yeah.
Scotland.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, they kind of have a little tiff towards the end of the conversation, and they basically hang up on each other. And Kitty's like, I'm out of here. Like, that was
Seeing
awkward.
myself
I'm
out.
out. But Margot, the older sister, texts her later and is like, hey, I'm sorry about earlier. Like, are we good? And at the same time, she got a text message from Peter that said, like, hey, did you get in to Stanford? And she replies to her sister, so she thinks, she says, of course, period, love you. She actually sent it to Peter.
Dun dun dun.
So Peter shows up with his car all
Like the
decked
good
out.
boyfriend he is.
He's like, his car's all decked out in Stanford stuff. He's got the window paint on there that says Stanford, and he's like playing their fight song on the big speaker, because he's thinking like, she's saying, of course I got into Stanford, love you.
Right.
Which would be like something normal she would say to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
like
not
he went so far to like celebrate her at the diner.
Yeah.
He's like telling the waitress she got into Stanford, like tell her your major. Like he's just so excited for her and excited
she
to be
doesn't
together.
tell him like, no, like,
No.
well, she eventually does, but
It's
she doesn't tell
awkward,
him
but-
right off the bat, like, no, I didn't get into Stanford. Like, that was a mistake. I meant to send that to my sister about something completely different. Yeah. Not that I got into Stanford.
Right. I think the next thing we really see is them like in New York City on this school trip and how they're like trying to find time to hang out together because they get split up and put into two different groups. So they end up going out on this little like date situation, and she's just kind of like checked out, and he's like super excited, and he's like just excited about like their plans to be at college together and spending time together. And she's dreamt up this whole plan of events, like she's like envisioning like their wedding day because of like, you know.
Yeah.
And she finally just says like, I didn't get in.
Yeah.
And the way he handled that, the way he responded to her was so great. Like,
it was.
I think she was maybe expecting a little pushback of like, why didn't you tell me? Like,
yeah, you
lied to me. And instead he's like, wait. Like, are you okay? Like, that you didn't get in? Like, how are you doing?
Right.
Like, we'll figure that.
Yeah,
like,
that
it
was such a
sucks,
good
but
response.
like, are you okay?
Yeah. Yeah, and he just was
so
like
good.
Reassuring too, and saying like, well, we'll figure out a way to make it work, because like at this point she's like, she got into UC Berkeley, so she's like pretty set in that moment on going to UC Berkeley, like,
right,
and it's only an hour away, no big deal from Stanford, so like that's easy.
They'll
distance.
see each other every weekend.
Yeah,
blah blah
if
blah.
not more, which we talked about that. I'm like, an hour, that's nothing.
Like, that's like hardly even considered long distance.
Yeah, I'm like, you could each drive 30 minutes and have dinner together like multiple times a week.
Definitely.
Anyway.
Yeah. What do you have next? I have their bowling date next. But there could be moments in between.
I didn't even write anything down about the bowling date.
I just thought it was cute because they had their little like photo booth moment, and they were kind of arguing about who got to keep it, and she's like, no, I want to hang it up in my dorm, and he was like, okay, fine. And we do see his dad show up at the bowling alley and kind of want to like pretend like everything's totally fine and be like, let's get dinner.
Yeah, like,
how
he
you doing,
didn't
champ?
leave
you want to
them.
come bowl with us?
Yeah, he left them and started a literal entire new family. There was like several kids over there,
multiple children.
Like, okay, cool.
Yeah, so
cool,
sad.
cool.
So sad.
I mean, Lara Jean and the other girls are kind of off doing stuff. They get invited to this NYU party because Jen's like considering going, or she is going to NYU,
right?
And Lara Jean just starts like wrestling with her own thoughts here about like, I think I'm in love with New York.
Yeah.
Dumb.
They had to squeeze a couch on the subway, guys.
Oh my gosh. They like stole this
That is
guy's pink
so
couch.
cool.
I bet our lives will be like this every
Wow. I bet
day.
every single day is going to be like an adventure.
An adventure filled.
In NYC.
On the subway. That's disgusting.
Anyways, yeah, she's just now feeling like NYU's like her best option.
Yeah.
And where she's like meant to be. And that's fine. But when she decides that NYU's where she wants to go and she tells Peter and he doesn't react the way she wants him to, she's all like mad. And I'm like, girl, go where you want to go. For sure. Right. I'm never going to be the one to say like, stay here because of a boy. But your choice does come with some consequences, and he reserves the right to be like, that's 3,000 miles away. Yeah.
Like, literally, you couldn't get any further.
No.
Between Stanford and NYU.
Right.
You don't get further than that.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know. I did think there was a sweet moment between them before, had to be before the NYU conversation when, after post bowling date, when he's just kind of like clearly down in the dumps about his dad. So that's the other thing. He's also got like that going on while he's dealing with Lara Jean's like college choice. And she did say like, do you want me to go with you like to have dinner? And he's just like, no. And like he kind of spits back like, you don't understand, like you don't know what it feels like. Like, not to say like, I know you lost your mom, but it's different. Like she didn't choose to leave you. And his moment of heartbreak, saying that whole like series of events that he said, or series of phrases, when he was like, I hate my dad, but like then I think about it and then I love my dad, and then I like hate that I miss my dad, and then I hate that I miss my dad, and then it's just this whole like heaviness. But I did think, even for a high school relationship, it was very sweet of her to be like, I'll go with you.
Yeah.
Like, instead of being like, forget him. Like, she's like, if this is something you want, I'll go with you, so it's a little easier to tackle.
Yeah, that was sweet.
But anyway, I think the next thing I have in relation to them as a couple was the whole exchange of the yearbooks and him being like, let's write something. And he's like, I want you to write me like a love letter. She's like,
like an OG love letter, like middle school, 7th grade.
Yeah.
OG love letter.
She's like, I already wrote you one.
Yeah, like you already have one of those.
I looked at Nicole. I'm like, what? Her cap is one love letter.
Write me another.
And you just told the man you're moving 3,000 miles away. Like, I'm sorry, you should have already had 3 pages written.
Exactly.
Oh my. But they still decide to go to prom together and do the whole shebang, and they have a great time.
Yeah. No drama.
But then
at prom.
Yeah, post prom didn't go so hot.
Yeah. Break it down.
So break it down.
Break it down now. That reminds me of Shrek. Number it down. What was that in Shrek?
The first movie?
Yeah.
Was it like the final credits, like the wedding? Or no?
Not break it down. Or was it? I don't know. There's some dancing happening.
Oh my goodness. So they're back at
It's the merry men. It's the merry men in the forest.
Oh.
With Fiona. Okay, I'm sorry.
Now break it down now. Okay, so Lara Jean brings Peter back. You know, he's dropping her off at the house, and she's like, you should come up. And he's like, what about your dad's rule? And she's like, it's fine. It's fine. So she sneaks him in. They go in her room. They start, like, kissing or whatever. And, like, one thing leads to another. And she's just, like, rearing and ready to go. And he's, like, yeah, well, for first of all, I'm like, you should not
it's
go
a recipe for disaster.
Don't even go in the bedroom
Yeah.
Definitely don't close the door, but just don't even go in the bedroom, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, she starts like acting as though she wants to like
Have sex.
have sex.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's reaching for his belt buckle, and
Yeah.
he's like stopping her, like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like,
Mm-hmm.
are you sure about this? That classic annoying line. And she's like, yeah. And then she goes to like do it again, and he stops her again, like
Yeah.
multiple times. And then he's like, wait, wait, wait. Like, why all of a sudden? Like, why
Yeah.
now are you wanting, like, prom night? Like, what? Like, clearly they hadn't had sex before.
Right.
He's like, why all of a sudden are you ready to do this right now?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I want to be close to you. And he's like, okay. And she's like, well, ever since I told you about NYU, like, you've been acting really distant. And he's like,
Yeah.
so you want to have sex with me?
Right.
Because it, like, it just, like, wasn't going to fly. And I'm like,
Yeah.
mad props.
Mad props.
Mad props to
Yeah.
Peter. He's the star of the series. I'm telling you. He's the shining star.
And at first, because I made a comment, like, when he first said, like, are you sure about that? It's like, of course she's going to say yes. Which, like, fine.
Consent, sure, great.
Yeah,
We love
like,
that.
that's fine if she actually does. But I was like, well, like, no, you need to be the man and, like, lead and say, like, no, we shouldn't be doing this. And then he proceeded to do what he did. And it's like, yes.
Yes. That's
champion.
exactly what should happen. It's a team effort. Like, if one's not going to do it, the other should stop. But, like,
Yeah.
it's just exactly what we said. Like, they ended up getting in an argument because, like, things weren't great between them.
Yeah.
And she was just using, it's classic girl versus guy, the differences in how our brains work. She's using sex to get love when sometimes guys can use love to get sex. And he's just like, no, I'm not doing that. And he leaves.
Yeah.
And she starts crying. And like, you were like, and you were about to have sex with him.
Right.
Like, this is why you just shouldn't do that when you're not married.
Right. Because it's like the heat of the moment.
It is.
And then it
you
went
don't
south.
make this sound decisions
Right.
in those moments. But anyways, but like, even take our like spiritual leaning out of it, like, it's just not wise for teenage relationship in a teenage relationship when you're like, it's just not wise to make a decision like that. So we just see like this major conflict between them because they're broken up essentially.
Yep. They
are done.
Yeah.
But you know who's not done? It's the parents. Dad and Trina's wedding day comes along. It's like the day after prom. I don't know. Or I don't know. Shortly after.
Very close. Yeah.
Because he texted her and was like, do you still want me to go to the wedding? And she originally types out yes. And then she quickly was like,
yeah,
if we're not together, like, I don't think it's like fair for my dad for you to be there.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, tell your dad I said congrats, which
great response.
Great response. Like, what are you going to do? He probably didn't want to go anyway.
Right.
Well, I mean, I think he wanted to be there for her, but like,
yeah,
I'm sure it was fine.
Yeah, totally.
But tell us about the whole like post-wedding situation.
So post-wedding, Kitty somehow gets involved in this.
Catherine.
Like, because her and Peter were so close.
Yeah.
Like, even just when at the very beginning of the movie when they got back from Korea.
That was so cute. We didn't talk about that.
He was already at the house, like, waiting for them to get home. And first thing is, like, Kitty just, like, runs directly to him and gives him the biggest hug.
Yeah.
And it's just so cute.
It is so cute.
It's so sweet. But anyway, so somehow Kitty gets involved in this whole post-wedding thing, which is not surprising.
Yeah.
But her and Lara Jean are just sitting on the couch, still in their wedding outfits, and she, like, I think is maybe texting Peter or something, because she's like, Lara Jean, you left something in the tent. Like, I think you should go get it. And she's like, okay, I'll get it tomorrow, or whatever she says. And she's like, no, I think you should get it right now. And she's just giving her this, like, look and grin. And I think Lara Jean finally is like, the wheels are turning. She's like, okay.
Right.
So she goes out to the tent where the wedding was. It was just in the backyard. And she just sees her yearbook there on, like, the the table, and it has like a little bookmark sticking out that says LJ and PK. And so she opens it to that page, and it's just like this super long love letter.
Sweetest
from
love
Peter. It
letter.
was so cute. Basically, he just was telling her, like, I'm willing to do anything to make this work.
Yeah.
Even if you're going to NYU, like, I don't want to be the thing that gets in the way of you doing what you want to do and what you're passionate about. And he's like, I want you to do those things, and I don't want to be the reason that you don't.
Right.
So he tells her, like, hey, well, I'll do anything to make this work. And he essentially makes a new contract for them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I thought it was sweet because when they ended their like argument, he was like, well, I'm going to my school, you're going to your school, like that's 3,000 miles kind of thing. Like because she was kind of arguing like, well, we can do it, like we'll find a way, and he was just like in the moment kind of like, that's not gonna work, like, or I don't want to do that, like that sounds so hard. And he's just leaving, which again, like I don't blame him for having that thought and opinion. 3,000 miles away, yes, it's only 4 years, but it's 4 years is a long time,
right.
Like especially when you're that age, and so many things you're just constantly changing and growing during that time in your life. And
it's like,
you don't know.
He's an athlete, so he'll be very involved in that.
Right.
You have your actual schooling that you have to do. It's like,
yeah. And you just don't know what you don't know. Like you, especially about college and just like entering your late teens, early 20s, I feel like you're just figuring out who you are still, and you're like figuring out who your friends are going to be. And so you think that you can make it work with this one particular person, but you don't really know, even if your intentions are so pure. So
I know, I literally was
wouldn't
like,
have blamed
well,
him.
Best of luck to y'all, because I hope it works.
I do too.
I hope it does.
Yeah, we don't get much after that except for, she signs the contract and agrees to make it work. And
they dance to their song.
They do.
Then she once again brings him back to her bedroom.
And this time they do the deed.
Yep. They do. And that's that, folks.
And that's all she wrote. Literally, that's all Jenny Han wrote in the storyline. We don't see any more story about them because that's where the book's trilogy ends. But I think Peter Kavinsky is like one of my favorite characters, like from the book, as far as like young adult fiction, because he's the most mature a 16, 17-year-old kid could possibly be.
Yeah.
Like, he's not perfect, but like, trust me, plenty of grown men don't make as good of decisions as Peter made for her in that moment.
Like, I'm thinking of him compared to like the Fisher boys. And how much?
Careful!
I don't need to be careful. I've already said my piece about what I think about them.
Yeah.
And that whole storyline. But
right. I think, but to compare the two, it's like when you're that age and your brain has not yet fully developed and you're so moldable in general, your life circumstances, like anybody, but especially at that age, like predict so much of how you act and how you make decisions. And I think you rely heavily on like emotions and feelings and all that. And I think we see both of them handle those things differently. Like, they're obviously had trauma of their own. Peter had a different version of trauma. So did Lara Jean. But yeah, Peter Kavinsky definitely a little bit more mature. But it was so different. It was so much more like lighthearted than the deep emotional chaos that was the Fisher Boys. But I can agree to some extent that he's
better than them.
I don't know if I'm willing to say that.
That's okay. I'm saying it on behalf of me.
And that's fine. And that's okay.
Well, guys, I don't know how long this episode was. Probably pretty
Goodness.
long, but thanks for
hanging
hanging in
in
there.
Oh my goodness, Jenny Han. I hope she delivers more. I haven't read much of her other things, but it's great. I think her stuff's really great. We are going to be tackling more series this season, so hang in there with some of these longer episodes.
Yeah.
Where there's more meat to the characters that we
Yeah.
are talking about.
Also, please, if you have any memorable / embarrassing crushes, please join us in that
make
because
us feel a little bit less crazy.
yeah, and if you see anybody named Shelly commenting on this episode, just ignore her.
Yeah. So just thank you guys.
Yeah.
This was a fun episode. Fun little a week of episodes. Some of my favorites. So we'll see you guys in the next one.
See ya.
Bye.